Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of F122 My Team Career Mode here today for the Monaco GP, but we start things off with, check out this, the brand new modded livery here in our My Team Career Mode. We actually have a Trackhouse livery finally made by a community member of Sanok Manic in the Discord, and look at this beautiful, beautiful livery that Sanok has put together for us here. Now, our first modded livery, you can see the Traction logo on there. As you guys know, I am a content creator for Traction. Love this livery here with the black and blue base, and then the chrome Trackhouse logo and the chrome Traction logo on the side of the front wing as well. We are just getting started with mods in this F122 My Team Career Mode. I cannot wait for you guys to see what we got in store now as we come through into a bright and sunny Monaco weekend here now for our first ever Monaco GP with this Trackhouse racing team, and very excited for this one here, as I've always had a lot of fun at the circuit here with Monaco. And actually I'm coming to this weekend though with a bit of an issue here. So the reliability and the engine parts we have on the car as expected are continuing to wear, but our MG UK, I think it was the ERS kind of part of the car, was actually pretty worn coming into this GP weekend. But if I replace it, so I didn't realize it until about qualifying, which meant if I replaced it after we started qualifying, well, I would actually have to start in the back, and I wasn't going to do that. So basically we're gonna have to go the whole weekend with a pretty worn out MG UK, which means our ERS is going to be not be able to hit its capacity, and it's gonna wear a lot quicker than it already does, and it already wears pretty quick. But if there's one track where you can get away with it, it's Monaco, because we don't necessarily need to rely on ERS to really take us far here. So I was pretty happy about that. You can see I did some quick practice programs because I actually kind of struggled with the pace here in practice now, but I'm not really going to judge everything off my pace in practice, because we looked really good in Spain in practice and qualifying, and then we went into the race and we were one of the slowest cars on the circuit. It was a really rough Spanish GP for us here now, so hopefully we don't have a repeat of that here as we were getting ready to go for Monaco qualifying now. And actually we start with a fuel system fault, but then actually a little bit of a hectic qualifying. Sebastian Vettel, this is the only angle I got of it, he crashed in qualifying, so a bit of a chaotic start right off the bat here in Q1 as I got my lap underway, and then I got held up by none other than fellow Canadian Nicholas Latifi, who would refuse to move and absolutely destroyed my lap. I actually swerve at him here, show my displeasure, but then we got yellow flags on the circuit in turn 1. Fernando Alonso is now out of the session. He has crashed out into turn 1 after a lockup on the right front wheel. There you see it, head on into the barrier, and he is out of qualifying as well. What is going on all of a sudden here in qualifying? Knowing Monaco, this qualifying session is probably going to be more chaotic and exciting than the actual GP itself, and Daniel Ricciardo actually retired out of the session as well, but I believe it was before I went out on the track because I could never get a shot of what happened with him, but we had eventually been able to come through and set a lap here now, and we crossed the line and went all the way up in P12, but I was expecting to fall down the order here. You can see some drivers that of course can't set a lap of Vettel as well as Ricciardo and Alonso, but I would go out for a second attempt here late in the session, just trying to better my lap because I knew I left quite a bit on the table here, and it already in about a sector and a half picked up about 3 to 4 tenths of a second as we were closing in towards the end of the second sector. Now about half a second in favor of us here now as we head through this little windy bendy section now. So crucial to get through here as good as possible, and we got through there way better than the first attempt. Now 7 tenths of a second better, and through this penultimate corner we gain nearly a full second now on our lap time previously. So an absolutely fantastic second lap here, and we're gonna come through down the front straightaway to cross the line to go P7 for the time being. As expected, we would drop way down the order, but only to P13, so we comfortably for the first time advance into Q2, surprisingly. Unfortunately, our teammate Piastri does not advance. He ends up P17, only 3 tenths of a second. The difference is Vettel, Alonso, Ricciardo, all down there 20th through 21st. Now into Q2 here for my attempt late in the session now, and made a bit of a sloppier lap here, unfortunately, and with the ERS issues that we were facing, we didn't actually have enough ERS battery charge to be able to do 2 laps, so it was a one and done at the absolute best. That's all I could get away with the battery here in the car now as we came through towards the end of this lap, and it wasn't a bad lap, it just certainly wasn't as good as the second lap I had put down in the end of Q1. So we come through down this front straightaway to cross the line. Where we're gonna go, it's basically a one and done like I said. Well, unfortunately it is going to be P15 here for the Monaco GP, but it's so difficult to pass. I was happy that we had at least beat about 7 other drivers here now, but P15 is where we will start, just behind Alex Albon there in the Williams. So let's head to the grid here for the Monaco GP.
Formula One returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo Casino that first opened in 1863. And of course a certain road race first held in 1929. And there's no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. The astonishing Circuit de Monaco is, for all intents and purposes, virtually unchanged since its inaugural race back in 1929. The faster cars of today ensure the 19 corners past the casino and along the seafront remain as thrilling as ever. A 2.1 mile lap here takes us around an entire country, yet never more than inches from the race-ending barriers. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Verstappen, George Russell and Perez, Norris, Magnussen, Mick Schumacher and Guan Yu Zhou, Ocon, Stroll, Alex Albon, Golden Boy, Bottas, Oscar Piastri, Nicholas Latifi and Yuki Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Gasly. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Vettel and Fernando Alonso rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson. Let's start with Alfa Romeo. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Ready to go green here from Monaco, and as usual, it is a medium to hard compound tire strategy. Now, they did throw up the idea of a two-stop with the soft and mediums, but I don't want to do a two-stop at Monaco where you can't pass. So it's all about track position when it comes to the Monaco GP, and Charles Leclerc has exactly that here in this 2022 Charles Leclerc Tour. It feels like Leclerc has won so many races. His worst finish this season is second place so far, and Leclerc looks to get another victory here today after starting on pole in Monaco. Lewis Hamilton up there on the front row as well in P2 here as we are ready to go. Lights out. Piastri, our teammate, starts just behind us. Valtteri Bottas as well in the Alfa Romeo as they try to continue to make gains, but not a lot of gains this weekend for them here in the R&D now, as we're going to be 5 red lights, and it's going to be lights out, and we are underway from the Monaco GP. Leclerc with a very solid start as usual, leads the way down into turn 1. Hamilton's able to cover off Carlos Sainz there into turn 1 as well, and here goes George Russell of the inside of Sainz here into the first turn, one day after Carlos Sainz got his first win in real life in the British GP. Very happy to see Carlos pick up the win there, as you see wheel to wheel right there though. Verstappen as well as Lando Norris with a great qualifying effort. Verstappen goes a little bit wide though, and he's going to lose a spot to the McLaren British driver of Lando Norris. Perez just in behind, and then you got the couple of Haas drivers of Schumacher and Magnussen as well here, bumper to bumper, wing to wing here as they head down through this very slow speed hairpin on this opening lap. You get down to nearly 20 miles per hour as you go through that hairpin. As you can see, everyone now just kind of settling in there. You see Esteban Ocon got Zhou Guanyu just behind him. Very, very thankful that Zhou Guanyu was okay after that incident yesterday in Britain there at Silverstone in that turn 1 accident. What a violent, terrible accident it looked like as they head down now into this little bus stop chicane style corner, and it's such a fun chicane, and if you miss your braking zone, it really sucks there because you can actually hop up over now the curbing and easily get floor damage, which you could do previously, but it seems to be able to happen much easier on this game where you can get floor damage in that chicane here out of the tunnel on this game now. As you can see, myself and Piastri unfortunately actually lost a couple of spots here to my teammate of Piastri, who was able to get ahead of us, and actually Daniel Ricciardo came in at the end of this first lap, and so did Valtteri Bottas. They were both repairing their front wings, so they had picked up a little bit of damage on this opening lap, so we were currently P15 just behind Oscar Piastri here on lap 2 of a long 39 lap race here in Monaco. A lot of time to make things happen, but well, it sounds like a lot of time, but when it's Monaco, there's really not, because it's such a difficult track to be able to pass. The only really thing that's your friend is the pit lane here. Yellow flag is behind us, so here on lap 3, it's Sebastian Vettel. You see the smoke pouring out of the rear end, and it's going to be another mechanical failure for Vettel this season. A miserable first season for Sebastian Vettel in this F1 22 career mode in this 2022 season here, as he just has no luck on his side. Multiple mechanical failures this season, and it continues here into Monaco as well in this episode now. As we come to lap 7, you can see that we were just continuing to hold our own here in 15th place behind Piastri, and I'm trying to get closer to Piastri here. I felt like I was faster than Oscar, and if I could have the DRS down there front straightaway, which we were within DRS range, but it was really about getting the power and traction down on the exit of the final corner. I could close up to Piastri. As you can see, I'm closing in on him over the course of this final sector, and we would be making kind of a habit of this. I would get really close in this final sector, close enough to be able to make a move, but then I wouldn't get the power or traction down enough out of the final corner, and that was what was kind of making the difference in allowing him to comfortably hold a gap to me here. And you can see an example of this on lap 12 right there. Just can't quite get the power down like he can, so he can kind of just push away from me here and keep about nearly half a second between himself and I now as we continue to try and put pressure on him. I was hoping that we could just get the power or traction down out of that final turn, or try and force him to a mistake, because AI do like to make mistakes in this game, which is really cool to see. They make a lot more than they used to, and with lockups and whatnot here, that's probably the biggest thing. You really do see them lock up quite a bit now, but look how close we are to Piastri here on the exit of the final turn again, but there it is. I just can't get the power down like he can, so we lose that pace and we lose that time to Piastri. Here's the pit window, would open on lap 17 already of this GP. Not much happening here in Monaco, as expected, as usual. Leclerc comes in though to the pits here at the conclusion of the 17th lap, gonna bring Lewis Hamilton in with them, both of the drivers going onto the hard compound tire. Track position being so important that Hamilton's easily currently able to hold on to second place, but Mercedes is going a little bit closer to Red Bull like we mentioned in the R&D, and they might even be able to make some gains here on Ferrari. I wouldn't rule out a Mercedes last half of the season push here to really spice it up, and we'll have to wait and see, because no one can really take down Charles Leclerc, and if nothing goes wrong for Leclerc today, no one's going to be able to take him down, because he has that clean air and that lead of the race, and that's going to be nearly impossible for anybody to be able to take him down unless he has some type of mechanical fault or something here now, as we are coming in for our pit stop here onto the hard compound tire, and just hoping for a smooth pit stop. Hopefully no issues on one of the tires there, getting them on or off, and into the pit box we go, and it's going to be a nice smooth pit stop here from this Trackhouse Racing pit crew. So we continue on here now onto the hard compound tire, which is of course going to be very cold. Got to be very careful on this opening lap of this hard compound tire, but fortunately I didn't have too much issue. This is probably the best hard compound tire ever felt so far this season, immediately out of the pit lane. So we continue on here with just over 20 laps remaining in this GP. Valtteri Bottas just in front of us, but he I would assume might have to come into the pits again, because he pitted for that hard compound tire on lap 1, unless maybe there is a chance he could actually try and stretch it to the finish here. But unfortunately, although we pitted a lap earlier than Piastri, we still come up behind Piastri. We got ahead of Latifi, which we were already ahead of, but we are still going to have to fight Piastri. This has basically been a race-long battle with trying to find a way around Oscar Piastri, and you can see there's a pace difference, because everybody's kind of able to drive away from Trackhouse on back, and basically 14th on forward, they're able to get away from us, and then basically 15th on back is just kind of in our own little area here. But track position, like we said, so important, and that was being shown off pretty well here, because Yuki Tsunoda, Pierre Gasly, Fernando Alonso, all cars that are faster than us in the AlphaTauri, which is still a Red Bull powertrain car like our own, but the Alpine as well with the Renault power is faster than us, and they just couldn't get even close to us because of the difficulty of passing, as you see me continuing to struggle with the traction there on the power down on the exit of that final turn. Not really sure what I can do at this point to be able to pass Oscar, but actually you saw me give up a little bit of time on that last time, losing that grip, and we were now over a second behind Piastri here, so not even in the DRS at this point. I was pushing really hard to try and get closer to Oscar here and get back within that 1 second threshold to be able to have the DRS on my side, but it just wasn't quite happening. It was kind of hovering about 1.3, 1.4 to sometimes 1.5 seconds, as you see Leclerc 10 laps to go, continuing, or 9 laps ago I think it is, leading this race, and Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz, your current podium, George Russell having a strong run for Mercedes as well, currently there in that 4th spot. Max Verstappen runs P5, Perez in 6th, Lando Norris, running way better than his teammate Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo's currently the last car running in the order, and Lando, on the other hand, is all the way up there in 7th place. Both of the Haas cars right now in the points with Schumacher and Magnussen. Schumacher's had a few points finishes already this season, looking to add another to that here today. Esteban Ocon, though, currently the final driver in the points in that Alpine. Zhou Guanyu trying to chase him down. down in these closing laps, but 3.4 seconds behind Ocon is Zhou Guanyu now. As you see, Lance Stroll, Albon, Bottas all there through that 12th and 14th position. Then you got Piastri and myself just trying to chase him down here now as Latifi holds up Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda, as well as Daniel Ricciardo in the background there as we would continue on here in these closing laps towards the end now of lap 30. And Mark comes over the radio and tells me that there's an issue here with the car and they are investigating it. Is our race about to come to a close? No, it is not. So we do have an issue, and it's an engine issue, so we would lose a bunch of pace, but he tells us it's fixed, but it's actually not fixed quite yet. That's just a bug in the game. So we are down on power for about probably a minute or so, and you're going to see the difference here. I could barely get into 7th gear on this straightaway through the tunnel, and we lose about a whole second to Piastri, and Latifi is going to be within nearly half a second of me as we head into the chicane. So fortunately though, just as quick as the issue happened, it was solved very, very quick as well here. Now by the end of this lap, you can see right there the issue has already been sorted out. So unfortunately though, we're now 2.3 seconds behind Piastri, so we have pretty much no chance to run him down. I did close into about 1.7 seconds behind, and then I noticed on the track map Charles Leclerc is about to be lapping me here, so this is going to be our opportunity. Now, Latifi was now 3 seconds back due to the blue flags. I pull over for Leclerc here, coming to just a few laps ago, but I realize my opportunity is stick with Leclerc and hope that Piastri has to pull over in an awkward spot to where he gives up the majority of the gap he has. Well, he pulls over on the front straightaway, and he had lost so much time just kind of pulling over for Leclerc that I was within DRS range now of Piastri here all of a sudden, coming to the final lap of this GP, and his tires seem to be falling off more than mine because I actually closed right up to the back of Piastri, coming now to the final lap here in the Monaco GP. We've been working all race long to find a way past Piastri. This is the closest we've been into turn 1. He defends very well into turn 1. We do a little bit of a switchback nearly, but we run into the back of the rear wing of Piastri. No damage. I take the risk here. Wheel to wheel trackhouse racing. Our rules with Justin Marks owning the team says we race against each other at all costs here now, and we are able to go around the outside of Oscar Piastri. What a pass, what a wheel-to-wheel battle, and that was about 38 laps in the making, it felt like there. We had tried about 35 different times to try and get around Piastri, and finally it happens on just the final lap of this GP, and I really got so lucky right there because of the blue flags. If it wasn't for Piastri giving up so much time under the blue flag conditions, I would have never had a chance to make a pass on the Australian teammate of mine. So we now move up into 15th place on this final lap of the Monaco GP. There's have a bit of a lock up into that chicane, some oversteer as well, and try to throw the gap away, but Charles Leclerc is already down the front straightaway, coming through to win in Monaco for the first time in his career, the home winner in the home GP for Leclerc, and we come through to cross the line on the last lap to beat our teammate of Piastri for 15th place. Honestly, we had some decent pace today. It wasn't great pace, but the race was definitely not bad by any means for us. P15, Oscar Piastri passed by myself on the final lap. P16, Leclerc, driver of the day. Let's head to the podium.
That's it then for another nail-biting Monaco Grand Prix. We were on the edge of our seats the whole time, but they've come through to take a stunning victory. What do you think it was today, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari, do it again.
There you see the podium celebrations. A very happy Charles Leclerc. Finally, the Monaco curse for Leclerc seems to be over. He gets a home GP win. Lewis Hamilton up there on the podium, and Leclerc's teammate of Carlos Sainz as well. And well, what's absent from this podium? Red Bull Racing. What a surprise season this has turned in for Red Bull. They just don't have the pace at times here. Verstappen and Perez, they end up 5th and 6th place. Russell was able to get up there in 4th position there. Ocon with the final point there of anybody in that Alpine. As you can see, the only DNF on the day was Vettel, and I was right. The qualifying session was more chaotic and entertaining than the actual GP itself here, it felt like. So, wild qualifying, a calm GP, a nice epic final lap, but Leclerc has a 70-point gap over Max Verstappen in second place in the standings. It is insane what kind of gap Leclerc is able to open up early on in the season, but if we know Ferrari, well, we know they can throw it all away before this season comes over, so I still don't write off Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Perez, even Carlos Sainz. You'll have to wait and see. Although Sainz is a Ferrari driver, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. You see myself trying to focus on some more major upgrades to this car, so we can try and make some large leaps ahead and get closer to AlphaTauri and a little bit further ahead of Williams and closer to Aston Martin, McLaren, etc. So hopefully we can, of course, make some nice headway here in the next few episodes. In the next episode, though, we go to one of my favorite Grand Prix circuits on the schedule. That is Azerbaijan and the Baku City Circuit. So I am very excited for that one. Then we have my home GP coming up after that. We go to Canada, then we go to Silverstone, Austria, France. A lot of tracks to look forward to here in this career mode. As always, if you guys enjoyed, though, you know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time of your day for watching this episode here, and I will see you guys in Baku for the next one. Hopefully some luck is on our side there and we have some decent pace at the high-speed circuit. We'll have to wait and see, but I will see you guys next time. Have a great day, everybody.